You're listening to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
It only takes one step, twist, or crunch to know something doesn't feel right. Essentia Health's orthopedic and sports medicine team gets you back to doing what you love with commitment, resilience, intention. We're here to keep you moving forward. Visit essentiahealth.org to learn more about orthopedics and sports medicine, like nowhere else.
Hello and welcome to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health. I'm your host, Matt Wellens, the Bulldogs hockey beat reporter at the Duluth News Tribune.
And I'm Zach Schneider, the television voice of UMD Hockey on My9 Sports.
This week on the podcast, we're joined by a pair of fifth-year senior captains from the UMD men's hockey team. Welcome to the podcast, Luke Loheit and Quinn Olson. Luke, welcome back, second time this year.
Yeah.
And Quinny, have we had you on the podcast yet this year?
Not, no.
No, we gave you the Man and McMahon treatment too. Took you 5 years to finally get you on here.
Yeah.
We should have had you on here in November with Luke when we were talking mustaches, because
you kind of had something going this year.
Yeah, I had it going for quite some time though.
You had a good, strong effort going on here. It was we were saying most improved, I think, from freshman to senior year.
For sure. I mean, I couldn't grow anything freshman year. Now I'm here. But no, that mustache was a little month in advance. I started early.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe two.
Nothing wrong with that.
It's all right. You better, being ready once the month comes around than some of the guys who it looks ugly. It looks bad there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're not going to talk about mustaches on this podcast. We've done enough of that over the years here. We're here to take a look back on your guys' careers here at UMD. You're down to your final 6 regular season games of the season. Back-to-back road trips over the next 2 weeks here to Grand Forks, North Dakota to play North Dakota, and then Colorado Springs to play Colorado College. What has been your guys' favorite road trip in the NCHC over the last 5 years? Quinny, we'll let you start. You got a favorite?
I feel like it was this year. I mean, we got to go play Cornell, so that's kind of something we haven't done in the years that we've been here. So that's a good one. And then obviously, I always like going to Western. I love playing in their rink with those students. Probably those two.
Those two stand out?
Yeah.
Luke, what road trips have stood out to you over the years?
I don't know. I mean, I remember it was just different. We went to Merrimack our freshman year. And
I remember that one.
That was over, I think that was right after Christmas. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, I think Cornell was fun. Within the NCHC, I think definitely Western, but I think North Dakota is always fun, just going to play in the Ralph. And it's always a big week. Sandy gets up for it, obviously. We all get up for it. So we've had some good games there. And obviously, I don't think we went there freshman year. And then the year after was COVID. And then, So we didn't go there and play in front of their fans until junior year, I think. So that was fun. But yeah, I'd say probably Ralph.
That was your sophomore year. They played the NCHC playoffs there, but there wasn't a full arena.
Yeah, we played there. Who did we play first? Western, I think.
I think you guys played Western.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's when Kelly scored.
Yeah, you guys went to overtime, and I had Clint Austin and I had a 5 a.m. flight to catch to Erie for the women in the Frozen Four, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I knew this game was going to go to overtime or something like that. I'm back at home watching.
Especially that year too, right?
Yeah, that year of all the years. And then you guys had the game against St. Cloud there. Yeah. So for you guys, you like the buildings with the atmosphere in Kalamazoo and Grand Forks, huh?
Yeah, they're always just so easy to get up for.
Yeah.
When you go out there and see the barns just packed, it's something that kind of drives you and makes you play better.
Yeah, definitely easy to get up for. It's more pressure too. And I think those teams too, that we're always probably, obviously this year is a little different, but in years past, we've always been top 10, top 15 matchups where it's super intense and it always means something. And obviously this weekend and the next weekends will still mean a ton for standings wise in the NCHC, and for us for pairwise too. But yeah, it always means a lot going to those places and playing in big games has been fun for us. And it's always, like Quinn said, easy to get up for.
At Western, either of you guys sad that you weren't the number 4 that they picked on? For people who don't know, Western picks on who's wearing number 4. If not number 4, they'll go number 5. Did they have to go
Who was it this year?
I think it was Ben.
I think they had to go all the way up to 6 this year to Ben Steves.
I thought it was Goder.
Yeah, I think they went 2.
I thought it was...
No, I think they did Steves, if I remember right. They went up. They don't go down.
I just remember last year, because I was sick. I had COVID last year.
Yeah.
And I remember I was watching at home and hearing Oompa Loompa.
Yeah, and that was for Rother.
Yeah, that was funny. I don't know. I don't think they did that this year. But
no, they didn't Oompa Loompa anyone this year.
Yeah, that was...
I'd have to go back and look at that because I really thought it was Goder.
Maybe they switched it. They might have switched it because I don't know if Benny's the guy you exactly want to provoke or anything like that. I was hoping they'd pick Aaron Pionk because his brother, like if someone in that student section like knew history, because Neil Pionk way back in the day was...
Oh, they know their history. They know their history. When you go in that box, they pull out everything.
Things you didn't know about yourself that you forgot from years past.
Yeah, they do a whole background check on you before you get in there.
Both of you guys came to UMD in the fall of 2019 when we're all talking three-peat at that time. And, of course, the pandemic kind of screwed that up and everything. But what was it like for you guys to join the program at that time when you know, it was coming off the back-to-back national championships?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was a super special time for just this community, for the teams and for the guys that were here. I think obviously coming in May too, it just like you could tell there's just an aura about the guys, about the locker room, about how guys acted, how they treated each other, how they, you know, went about daily business as far as, you know, even when it was in May and we didn't really have anything going on that was totally required. But yeah, I think just the way guys held themselves, the way guys conducted their business on a daily basis was cool for me to see. Is something that I still remember to this day, and definitely a lot of good memories too with those guys that I take with me still now and will take with me for a long time. And I just remember how bad it was when we had to give up that last series. And I remember Jader specifically, and Jade was a guy that I looked up to that whole year, and he was my roommate on the road. And I remember Sandy coming in and saying that we couldn't play anymore, and Jader was just heartbroken, and all those guys were just so heartbroken. But like I said, throughout that whole year, it was just so cool to see, you know, how much they came together through those past 2 years, and like I said, is lots of different learning experiences through that year, and it's something that I tried to apply for the next few years. And obviously, we had some good success after that, but yeah, that first year is definitely disappointing. We couldn't make it a three-peat.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, like Luke said, the community, the buzz around Duluth was just, it was something that I haven't seen before, obviously. And I mean, I came to Duluth to win, and you know, those teams before they're winning. They got their 2 national championships, and we were lucky enough to come in at that great time. But yeah, it was very hard to hear that news of our season being cut short, and that team right there, that was a good team, right? Yeah. Like we had it. So, but it's also a good lesson for us. It's a good lesson to learn from that exact group, those older guys, and obviously try to take it into the next years, which I think we've done a pretty good job of doing.
What did you learn from that group in that year, the years that you had with the guys who were on some of those national championship teams? And this has been your first year without the actual guys in the room. You've got some of the coaches that were part of those teams still part of the program. But what did you guys take away from those couple of years that you got to spend with the carryover players from those back-to-back titles?
I think just what we learned most, or what I learned most, was just hanging out with a winning culture. Yeah. Like there was no cliques within the team. The team was always just getting along, and obviously Wolfie and Shep, two great captains. And I don't know, it's just the vibe around the room, the vibe around the rink. It was great to kind of just be a part of that. And I mean, yeah, whenever something went wrong, like the older guys, they were always there. Like that leadership group, they did a great job of kind of bringing the freshmen up and kind of just creating a whole mold as a team.
Yeah. Yeah, I think just the commitment to the the small things, like on a daily basis, or even not even on the ice, like just away from the rink too, like how guys treat each other, or how, you know, in our lounge, like guys are making sure to pick stuff up, you know, loading the bus, making sure everyone's grabbing a bag, or going out to dinner, like the seniors are eating first, like freshmen, you got to wait your turn. Like just the respect factor, and something that we've talked about lately is just like how that standard was set with them, and that was expected. Like there was no gray area. Like it was black and white. Like this is what you did. This is how you treat each other. This is the way we go about our business, and you're going to either commit to it or you're not. And I think that was the biggest thing that I learned, and obviously is something that we've tried to set through this next wave of kids and guys coming in here. But yeah, I think just the commitment to the respect of each other, the respect of the program, the respect of the team, and that goes in so many different ways, so many different wavelengths. But like I said, just that little stuff, like away from the rink, on the ice, all those things were so huge for me to see. And it's not big things, but in the grand scheme of things, those are really big things that mean a lot. So
Nick Wolff and Hunter Shepard, the odd couple of captains, if I ever saw them. I like to ask this question because a couple guests have said this, and a lot of it is guys that played Minnesota high school hockey. So Luke, it might apply to you more than anyone. They said when they got here to UMD, Nick Wolff was scary. Was Nick Wolff scary when you guys first got here?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say so. Yeah, he definitely had that intimidation factor about him, and that, I mean, that also kind of goes along with the respect thing, right? Like you first off come in, you have that respect for the older guys, and a guy like Wolff, you see him go out and practice, and he's going in the corners and just burying guys and not being afraid to go after guys, start chirping guys, and he's not necessarily the guy that's gonna do a ton of like extra work or, you know, stay out on the ice long after practice, but when he's in it, he's in it. And I think that's another thing that we noticed too, is how special that group kind of had, and Wolff, he led us that way. He let us in the sense of, you know, when you're out on that ice, you're going to battle. When you put on that jersey, you're going to battle, and he was definitely had an intimidation factor for sure.
We've liked to poke a little fun maybe at Nick Wolff and the character that he was. We've done that in front of him. We've done that since he's left. He's kind of left a legacy. But
Nick's poked fun at himself.
Yeah, he's one of those guys, right?
He's a goofball, right? Like, you learn quickly he's a goofball. But I think everyone watches him on the ice, and thinks, "Wow, that guy is." He cares. Intense. He's scary.
Yeah. Yeah. But Quinny, I mean, he's one of those guys too that you remember. He seems like just, if you had to pick a favorite teammate, he might be high on a lot of lists. As much as you like to poke fun at some of the oddities or the things that he said away from the ice, I mean, guys seem to gravitate towards a Nick Wolff type guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously off the ice, he's a great guy. He's funny. I mean, yeah. I mean,
some good memories.
There's some very good memories, but like when he put that jersey on, like Sandy's talked about, like when you put that jersey on, you come to work, you care about this program, you don't disappoint this program. And he was one of those guys that we were lucky enough to come in, and he was leading us in the right direction. Obviously, every single night when he had that jersey on, when he was on that ice, like he cared. He tried his best and did whatever he could for the team. So we're lucky for that. Mm-hmm.
How much has what you've learned in those first couple of years from that group, when you guys were younger players and you were trying for the three-peat, and then you went through the COVID year and all that stuff at the beginning of your careers, now the past couple of years where things have been a little bit more up and down, what'd you learn from when things were going well that translates to maybe now when you're not winning as many games as you'd like and you go through a couple weekends where you get swept? How is that translated now to being the older guys who maybe need to be the ones building the rest of the team up and getting them ready for the stretch run here?
Yeah, I mean, I think just remembering those things that we learned in those first few years, and remembering that, like I said, that commitment to each other, the commitment to the small stuff, the respect. Like, I think that's such a big thing, the respect for each other, the respect for what it takes. I mean, I think that's what those groups in the early years understood, is just like the respect for like how much of a grind it is, how much of a commitment it is to each other and to doing the little things on a daily basis. Like a guy like Noah Cates is, I always bring him up, but it's just he set a perfect example, just like he'd be the guy who he'd go have 2 or 3 points on a Friday night, and then the next morning he'd be out there morning skate, lacing up, going working on stuff like that. That stuff you can't teach, and I think that's something that I notice. And in times like that, you gotta go back to that stuff. You gotta go back to the basics, and you gotta also remember that, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, winning solves a lot, but it's not that simple. So, commitment to the little things, I think, is something we've been trying to preach, and just the respect factor for what it takes, what it means to, you know, be a Bulldog. What, like I said, loading the bus, like cleaning up after yourself, please and thank yous, like all that stuff translates to how you treat each other, how you treat the trainers, how you treat the coaches, and in the end, it results in a good respectful game that leads to good results. So that's what I learned from them, and I think that's stuff that we're still trying to apply right now.
Yeah, I also think that, I mean, there's obviously been ups and downs in the last couple of years, and those first years that we were here, it was straight across, you know. But I think just looking back at the culture that the Bulldogs have, like that's what we need to come back to when things aren't going our way. Stay to our course, stay to Bulldog hockey, and I think that emotions get high sometimes, but those are something that us as leaders, we have to deal with. And we have to kind of deal with our guys in our locker room and bring them all back to kind of that flow state and get back to work.
What do you guys remember about your first day as Bulldogs? That first day you got to Amsoil and Duluth. Quinny, I'll let you go first.
First day I got to Amsoil, we weren't even practicing. We were doing our physicals and stuff with Suze, and I came in with Brady Meyer, my roommate, my freshman year. I was walking in the rink, and first guy I see come out of that door was Jesse Jocks, and shook his hand, obviously introduced myself. We talked a little bit, and I went in the rink, and I never thought that Jesse Jocks would turn out to be the kind of guy that he was. Like he's like I never, because you know, we shook hands. It was all mature, but finally got to know Jesse, and I mean, he's such a good guy. I was sitting beside him in the locker room for the longest time, and our friendship kind of grew a lot over the past years. But other than that, went in the rink, did my physicals, met most of the guys. I already met Luke and Fanti and Percelli at Oakland. So, and then we finally got on the ice the next couple of days. So,
yeah. Luke, what do you remember?
I mean, my first day was in May, in May term. So I remember going there so I stayed with Scotty. I remember coming into town, and I was texting with Krause, and I was like, hey, like where am I staying here? Like, am I just going to sleep at the rink or whatever? And he's like, no, I'll get you linked up with Scott and
Scott Paranovich?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Not
Sandy.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to stay at Sandy's.
Be like, man, what did I do? But
exactly.
I want to just clarify for listeners, Scott Paranovich.
Yeah. So Scotty texted me, and he's like, hey, I think he just texted me, hey. And I was like, hey man, like, what's up? Like, I think I'm staying with you. And he's like, all right, sweet. Just like one word answers. I'm like, okay. So I got the address to the house from Krause. I'd show up there, and I stayed up, and Scotty had a bigger bedroom. So there was enough area for me to have a mattress and kind of sleep on the other side of the room. So I slept in there. And then the next morning I remember Scotty driving me down there, and we were just about to get on 35, and he goes, you nervous? And I was like, yeah, maybe a little bit. And he's like, and he obviously, knowing Scotty after that, like kind of same thing. You don't know guys until you experience what they're like, obviously the next year or whatever. And after knowing Scotty, like, I just thought it was just funny that he asked me that. And he also, after I said that, he was like, you're going to be good. Like, don't worry about it. And obviously Scotty's not really the type to have like emotional conversations or like try and like be your therapist, but no, he was. I remember that. And then I just remember getting in the rink, and I remember we did a lift, and then we just got on the rink, did the same old thing.
What do you guys remember? You two been together, playing together here now for 5 years. What's your first memory of each other?
Quinny.
All right. So when I first got to Duluth, I came down with my mom, and then So I was texting with Krause, and he was telling me that I had to go to Oakland and to the apartments and get the keys and stuff. So I was me and my mom were in line to get the keys, and I just feel like I can tell when someone else is a hockey player from the kind of the way they look, you know. But I was in line to get the keys, and I look back a couple times, like, do I know anyone here? And no, don't know anyone. And then I see Loheit roll in with his family, and I mean, we kind of looked at each other, looked back down. At each other. It's like no interaction at all. And I was like, okay, that's got to be like, that's Luke, right? And so I got my key, went to Oakland, moved all my stuff in, and then I can't remember if
I think you came to our room.
Yeah, I came to your room, but I don't know if someone texted or something, but I knew what room they were in, so I went down to their room, knocked on the door, said hey to him and Fanti. I don't think Percelli was there at that point.
No.
It was just us three, and then right from there I went to Chipper, my first time having Chipotle. Yep. And yeah, that's where it started. That's where our friendship started.
We were just glaring at each other in the line to get our keys, though. It's like it's like that kind of intimidation factor. Yeah. You're like this guy's gonna take my spot or something like that. Whatever. And we didn't really know each other, and
I could tell it was someone that I was gonna know in the future.
Yeah,
I knew.
Yeah, I knew we had. Yeah, it clicked right away. That was funny.
What is it like, I guess, showing up to college, doing something that's brand new as a freshman, just like every other, student on campus that week that's showing up, saying goodbye to their parents? You guys have played some junior hockey, so maybe a little bit more accustomed to it, a little bit older than typical freshmen. And then to add on to that, especially for you guys, the expectation of playing for UMD and at that time trying for 3 straight national championships. Take me into the mindset of a freshman when you show up and everything's new, and then you got this whole city that cares so much about the program that you're stepping into. It seems to add a lot to what's already a pretty stressful situation for most people.
Yeah. I think juniors and like that whole process for me, like that kind of helps you as far as like, obviously for most students, like you're leaving your family for the first time. It's super hard. You're not used to being away from home. You're going to have to figure out how you're going to eat. Like, you got to do your own laundry, like all that stuff. And so I think juniors, like that's kind of the whole point of juniors, to get you to kind of have that first sting of like, oh, I'm not going to be with my family. I'm not going to be home. So when you jump onto a college campus and you're coming to play hockey and that's your job, then you don't have to worry about that as much. So I wasn't necessarily worried about that. I think, obviously it sucked leaving my parents, but I think also for me personally, it was nice. I was close to home. I knew the area well, and I knew what I was coming into. And yeah, like we talked about earlier, just the feeling of the community was super special. I remember like kind of thinking we were pretty big time, like walking in and you don't know what to expect, but yeah, you have that confidence. You have that swagger when you come in, and obviously that's a good thing. I think for most people, obviously you want to channel it and make sure doesn't turn into an ego. But I think we were just excited. We were just excited to get on campus, just excited to go to the rink and put on the jersey and finally start contributing to some success here. And yeah, I actually remember just this kind of just shows the community and like how ingrained they were. I remember when we got up there, I like went on Facebook or something, and I just go on Facebook and see like my parents' stuff, and it was like the UMD the fan page or whatever, and they tweeted out a picture. It was like a picture of Nick Swaney's car, and it was like, the boys are back when Swaney's driving around town. And I was like, oh wow, I guess.
What was Swaney driving back then?
It was like
what's that?
I don't even know. It was like a GMC something.
Yeah, I think just a GMC.
Yeah, I don't know what
SUV type thing.
Yeah, but I was like, geez, are people following us around? Yeah. But no, just like, just again, the sense of community, the excitement throughout the whole community. So that's super exciting about stepping foot on campus.
I think also like you're coming to campus, obviously you're leaving your family, you're leaving your friends. Like it's hard on you, but then you also get to go down the hallway and you've got your teammates right there, right? Like
whole new family.
Yeah. Like you're not, the college kids, obviously they come to school, they have that welcome week, they meet new people, but you're pretty much coming to campus and you know that there's someone like right there with you. Yeah. You get your freshman class, and then that's obviously where that Bulldog culture comes in, and you got the older guys showing you showing you around, showing you what to do, how to do it. And so obviously being on a team makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Get 25 new best friends right away.
Yeah.
So,
All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we'll have more with Luke and Quinn. You're listening to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health.
Greetings from Northlandia, a place to bring your curiosity, because here you will find curiosities. Whether it's a look inside the Northern Rail Train Car Inn or an introduction to Duluth's musical roboticist Robot Rickshaw, we celebrate the region's distinctive people, places, and history. Each week, I'm joined by my fellow reporters who share the unique and fascinating stories that they discover while exploring the Northland. You can find new episodes of the Northlandia podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Join us along this journey and discover the extraordinary stories that you just might miss if you're not in the right place at the right time, ready to step off the beaten path with no rush to return, here in Northlandia.
Hi, I'm Maria Lockwood, a reporter with the Superior Telegram. Explore Superior and Douglas County history with me on Archive Dive, a monthly podcast available at superiortelegram.com or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back to the Bulldog Insider Podcast, brought to you by Essentia Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. They're proud to be the team physicians for the UMD Bulldogs and provide sports medicine care to more than 25,000 student athletes in the community to ensure they can compete at the highest level while protecting their long-term health and athletic futures. Thanks to Essentia Health for their support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast. I'm Matt Wellens, along with my co-host Zach Schneider and our guests this week, Luke Loheit and Quinn Olson. What brought you two originally to UMD? Quinn, we'll start with you. You grew up. Are you from Calgary or Calgary area?
Yeah, right from Calgary.
And there was no Chipotle in Calgary.
There is none, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
city.
I think. I mean, I was playing juniors in Okotoks in the Alberta Junior Hockey League, and obviously Canadians that we don't know too much about college hockey, right? So. I had a brother growing up, and he went through the WHL, and he played his 5 years there. So, I mean, as a young kid, I was obviously focused on playing in the WHL. But my first year in Okotoks, I played with Tanner Latteru, obviously captain here. And right when Tanner committed to UMD, it was kind of a switch went off in my head, like, hey, maybe I should check this out and kind of explore the options that college had to offer. And then later that year, Krause he was back down, and Hertz they were back down to watch, and they kind of just gave me the information of what UMD was all about. And later on, I came down and visited, and what brought me here pretty much was the coaching staff, and then the culture that lads would talk to me about. I mean, I remember having a conversation with him over the phone, and he was like, this is the team that you want to come to. Like, it was, everyone was so tight knit. The community's great. Like, the culture, it's a winning culture, obviously. And at that time, the team was going on to win a couple national championships. So, I mean, that obviously sparked some interest. So, but I think it just all came down to the winning culture and being a Bulldog, about what it was all about. And I remember Krause was telling me what it was like to be a Bulldog, and that's exactly how I act and how I want to be.
Luke, how about you? Growing up in Minnetonka there.
Yeah. So I think it was my junior year of high school. I was playing AAA. I was playing for the U16 Blades. And so that's obviously you're traveling around, playing in different cities, playing against really good teams, playing against Shattuck. So I was kind of all over the place. Obviously, it's a popular area for scouts and college teams to look at. And college hockey was kind of always, once I passed Bantams, that was a goal for me. I think I played 3 years of Bantams just because of my age. I didn't make the high school team my sophomore year, so I was able to go back and play Bantams. And after my third year, had a really good year. And a couple of my coaches that year just told me, like, we think you can play college hockey. And from there on out, I was committed to that. And then, that fall when I was playing for the Blades, I was getting scouted by a lot of different schools. And then Lars was the one who recruited me, and my dad and obviously me and him made an instant connection. And he came to watch me in actually Chicago. And and for the Bauer Invite tournament, and he was there, and so we hit it off right away. And I love Lars as a person, and obviously didn't have him as a coach, but seemed like a great coach too. So from there on, I committed in November of that year, and obviously played high school for that year and then the following. And but yeah, I mean, like Quinny said, I think just the culture that Lars preached was something that, blue collar type. That's something that I grew up on. Like that's kind of my family. My dad, just looking up to him growing up, he's just a blue collar type of guy, someone that I look up to and who's mentored me obviously my whole life. And I kind of got that same type of environment feeling from here, and obviously close to home, all that. And again, the national championships help as well. But yeah, so that, I think just that blue collar type of mentality was something that really attracted me. And then I actually went to the Frozen Four that year. That it was in Chicago, and then we ended up not winning. It got beat by Denver, but so that was fun, kind of following along. But yeah, no, it was a great experience. Obviously, I credit Lars a lot, and obviously Sandy and Hertz and Krause became part of that whole dynamic as well. But Lars was definitely the first one who kind of drew me into here.
This situation has changed, I think, with the addition of the transfer portal and some of the rules. But we saw this when Mike Hastings went to Wisconsin, when a lot of players followed him from Mankato to Wisconsin. So when Lars gets the job at St. Cloud State, had he attracted you to what it meant to be a Bulldog? Was that something that went through your mind when Lars got that job?
Like you're saying, did I ever think about
following him to St. Cloud? Yeah, I'm just curious about the player's perspective in your situation.
No, yeah, I think definitely nowadays it's something you need. It's a valid, very valid question. I think it's something that I ask for guys that were under different schools and coaches move. But no, I think Larson, he attracted me to the Bulldog culture, and I think it never wavered. He never asked me about it or anything, but yeah, he attracted me to here, and I think he kind of felt, or I guarantee you, he knew that I would fit well here, and I was very enticed by, obviously, not only him, but the culture that came along with it was Sandy, and obviously Sandy has his own resume to go by, so obviously I'm going to trust in him above anything else. But yeah, I think he knew that I just loved the feel here, and obviously he did a really good job of kind of relaying what type of culture it was. But yeah, I think it was just more of the way he relayed it to me was he did a really good job of, and obviously I learned it through Sandy and Hertz too. And but yeah, I think just the culture is the biggest thing that attracted me.
What's your guys' favorite on ice moment from your 5 years so far? Luke, I'll let you start on this one.
Wow. Put him on the spot.
Wow. I mean, the 5 overtime, that was after not playing for about a 3 period straight, and then going out there with Millie and Blake, and we scored. That was pretty fun. Yeah, that was just that whole experience was crazy. So that's definitely up there.
How many shifts had you taken before? How many shifts have you guys taken before going out there?
It wasn't many.
I know it wasn't many, because I remember at one point going, "Oh wow, they must be getting gas," because they got Millie, Blake, and Luke back out there again. We haven't seen them in a while.
No, so we have our in-stat, and you can look at like all your minutes or whatever.
Yep.
And I think like the first 3 periods of the actual game, we played like 6-7 minutes, and then after that we didn't touch the ice for 3 periods. And then we got a shift out there in the 4th overtime and kind of got our legs going. And I remember Catesy at one point in between like the 3rd or 4th overtime, and he was sitting next to me, and he's like, "So you gonna play, you guys, or what?" I'm dying. And I was like, "Yeah, I think so." And of course we go out there and score. So that was crazy. But
yeah, all got home a lot earlier that night.
Yeah.
They just thrown you out there earlier, apparently.
Yeah, not a lot of minutes though, but it worked out. So I'd say that was probably one.
Yeah, I mean,
hard to choose though.
Obviously that one's up there, but I'm not just gonna repeat that one. So I think in the Frozen Face-Off, obviously that year was such a fun year, and we went through some ups and downs, and just how close we were as a group, and how hard we worked in games, and then finally getting that recognition and winning that Frozen Face-Off. Like, it felt like obviously there's more to be done, but it still felt like we've accomplished something. You know, instead of just winning series or whatever, we finally got that trophy. So that's probably my favorite memory.
Yeah.
What's your favorite off-ice moment the last 5 years that can be shared on the podcast? We always got to preface that with everyone.
Yeah.
For me, I think it'd be...
I always go back to our dinners.
Oh, our dinners are
our dinners
are fun.
I remember actually in the pod, we went to this in Omaha. We went to the Beacon. I think it's still there. We saw it when we were there, and it's called the Beacon something, or maybe just the Beacon. But we went there for like 3 or 4 dinners. I think. Yeah. I mean, we went there for a lot, and I just remember one time I was sitting at a table with Kobe Roth, Zach Stayskull, Jarrett Lee, I can't remember who else, but I had Rother like crying at the dinner table, making him laugh so hard. And just those laughs are just, because it's kind of the moment where you're like not really supposed to laugh, or like you're not really supposed, like it was just that setting where it's like everything's 10 times funnier. So like I just remember that so vividly. Rother and I still talk about it when I see him, and it's just those laughs and those experiences at the dinner table. Some of the comments that are made are just
get a laugh attack.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when we were chartering to Pittsburgh, that's obviously a great memory, because everyone's just so high in their emotion, you know. Everyone's just having a good time. So I think that whole road trip was super, super fun.
Which teacher or staff member at UMD has had a dramatic impact on your time here?
From the school, like just
from the school.
Yeah.
Neither of you have spent significant time in the training room, so you don't have to talk about Suze here like some people do when they come on here.
No, Suze is
an all-star.
She's in her own category. But actually, one professor that I connected with kind of towards the end of in the business school, his name was Yoshi, and I don't want to pronounce his name wrong. He's but we called him Yoshi, and he was a guy that he was always such a biggest fan of the hockey team, always curious what was going on, and always understood kind of what we had to deal with as far as travel and getting back late and obviously leaving early, and he was a great teacher too, and I learned a lot from him. I had, I think, 4 classes with him last year, and he's someone that I definitely remember from the finance department as someone that kind of left a mark on me. And I've meant to go back to the school and see him this year, but I still haven't. But he was always my biggest fan and our team's biggest fan. And you just love those types of teachers that obviously they still hold you accountable, but at the same time they're huge fans of you. They obviously understand kind of the demand that we have, and so he was great with that.
Laura Schnell, 100%. From my freshman year all the way till, start of this year, start of my 5th year, she's always been there. No matter what I need, the questions that I need to ask, I go straight to Laura, and I don't mean she responds in no time. She's always there to help us. I mean, she's obviously not in the same role as she was when our first 4 years, I think 3 or 4 years. So
she's great.
She's great, and Luke said, his professor comes to the games, and Laura's always there to support us, and it's whatever we need, she's always there.
Yeah,
she's been a huge help.
What degrees are you guys leaving UMD with here after 5 years?
Finance, Luke? For me.
Finance degree?
Yeah, finance, and then
you got the bachelor's in finance?
Yep, bachelor's in finance, and then right now, we're both in different type of, but I'm doing master's of education program right now. So I'm not going to finish it this year, but I can finish it down the road and or next year or whatever. But bachelor's in finance.
Communication degree for me with a minor in coaching.
Okay.
And then I'm working on the education, but probably won't finish it. Probably won't. We're only taking 2 classes right now, so kind of focused on hockey.
Yeah.
But we'll get it done.
Yeah, it's a program where if you commit, you can get it done in a year. So it's good. But other guys have done it in the past, so we kind of based it off that. So just good to keep us in school and keep us preoccupied away from the rink. So
communication degree means we might come calling down the road here, Quinn, after your playing days are over.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's what I signed up for, right? So
if you don't get snatched up somewhere else with that coaching minor.
That's right. Maybe I'll be back here.
Be on the bench.
Taking Sandy's.
Me and Quinny on the bench.
What are your guys' plans after college? Both of you were drafted in the NHL. Luke by Ottawa, Quinn by Boston. I don't know what the fifth year is, how all the rights things work. Luke, does Ottawa still own your rights technically?
They don't.
So they don't. Okay. I was going to say, you were drafted in 2018. I didn't think a team could hold on to anyone's rights that long.
It's a long time. But no, it's, so I got, the way they do it, I mean, it's complicated, but the way they do it is basically that they let you go through school. Once you graduate with a degree in whatever it is, then you have the option to stay with them or get your rights released. So this summer I decided to get my rights released by them, and they were awesome to me in the years that I was with them. I went to a few dev camps, and they were great. I made some good connections as far as with players and different staff, and they were great to me for sure. But yeah, I felt like it was kind of the best option for me to just have different options as far as where I'm going to land after this year. But yeah, just kind of focus on obviously finishing the year strong. I mean, for both of us and anyone in our position, playing well solves all that. So you just got to go out and play your best. And after the year, we'll see what happens. Obviously, I want to keep playing, and depending on where that is, I don't know. But just looking forward to keep playing. And obviously, I still love the game, still have the passion for the game. So gonna figure that out once the year's over.
And Quinny, does Boston still own your rights? You were drafted in 2019, so.
Yep. So they still have my rights till August 15th.
Okay.
So last year, if I was graduated by August 15th, they would have not had my rights anymore. Okay. But I wasn't. I graduated a day late. I graduated on the 16th of August. So they do still have my rights. But I mean, like Luke said, at this point, I mean, I'm going to try to play hockey after, but still have to finish the year strong. And I mean, there's options out there. I mean, I have a brother overseas playing in Switzerland. So, I mean, there's options, and hopefully we finish the year strong and keep playing good hockey. So those options open up. Yeah.
I always say it'd be sweet to be able to go over to Europe when you're at your guys' age and do that and stuff. If you can. Great to play pro in North America and everything, but also, be in your early mid-20s hanging out in Europe would be fun as well. So.
Great opportunity.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You can find the Bulldog Insider Podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Like us, subscribe, rate us. Give us a 5-star rating wherever you're listening to this. For more Bulldog hockey coverage, visit DuluthNewsTribune.com/Bulldog Insider. Subscribe to gain access to all of our coverage all season long. Zach, what do we got for TV coverage this week? The women are at Minnesota, and the men, we go to Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Yeah, no more TV coverage for the women scheduled this season. I think there's some discussion on our end about whether to pick up their playoff series here next weekend against St. Cloud State, so we'll keep you updated on that. The guys are at North Dakota, and we'll have both those games 7 o'clock Friday and 6 o'clock Saturday.
Yes.
Yeah. So an hour earlier on Saturday, we'll have both of those for you on My 9.
We are owed an early start after the 8 o'clock start on last Friday there. Thanks to our sponsor, Essentia Health, for their support of the Bulldog Insider Podcast, and thanks to all of you for listening. We'll catch you next week.